Hello everybody and welcome back to Screen Stars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2020 action thriller One Night in Bangkok, a film that is directed by, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher this name, Waish Sayanada, and it stars Mark Dacascos as Kai, Vanida Galton as Faye, and Kane Kosugi. Right, now this film focuses on Mark Dacascos' character Kai, who one night in Bangkok, basically he hires an Uber driver to take him to 5 different locations all around Bangkok, and he is at each of these locations going to kill someone who was directly involved in the death of his family some months previously in Bangkok, and they're all involved in some way in that. However, the Uber driver, Faye, there is a connection as well between her and Mark Dacascos' character, and we learn about that as the film progresses. And also there is a police detective who is investigating these deaths and is hot on the trail at the same time. Now that description doesn't really do this film justice. There's actually a lot more to that than it sounds. At first glance, or at first hearing the plot of this film, your mind will immediately jump to the Tom Cruise film Collateral. Mine certainly did when I read the plot of this film. And when the film started, the first 10 or 15 minutes I had in my head, this is basically just a remake of Collateral. However, as the film progresses and the plot unfolds, it is in actual fact a very, very different film to Collateral. It's got, I think, actually a lot more heart and emotion to it, this film, and I actually thought by the end it was a thoughtful, emotional action thriller, and I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to lie, I thought it's not perfect, it's flawed, there are issues with it, it loses its focus a little bit by the end. There are some pacing issues that, to say it's described as an action film, I think that's a stretch. It's more of a thriller than an action film. There is action in it, but it's sporadic. However, what gives this film its strength is the 2 central performances by Mark Dacascos and Vanida Galton, who share many scenes in this cab and have a lot of dialogue together, and I've got to say they were both outstanding. Mark Dacascos, obviously we know he had in the 90s, a successful reign as like a B-movie action star. He was quiet for a while, and then obviously he has resurfaced after John Wick 3, his great performance in that film. So his career has obviously seen a bit of a resurgence. And I've got to say, I was incredibly impressed with Mark Dacascos in this film. His performance is fantastic, really good. Even though I will have watched some of his earlier films in the 90s, I couldn't honestly tell you which ones I saw, which ones stood out, and what his acting was like in those days. But I'll tell you something, his acting is fantastic in this film. I really enjoyed his performance about this man who is hurting so much, but has this task to do. Very tortured soul, and honestly, I think you'll be really impressed with this performance in this film, as was Vanida Galton, the Uber driver. She was really good as well. The dialogue they have together, they have some really emotional scenes. They both knock it out the park. And I would say I think she's a star in the making. Personally, I thought she was absolutely wonderful in this film, and if it wasn't for that chemistry and connection between these 2 main leads, because they share a lot of scenes together, or there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of talking to each other in this film, I think this film would have really struggled to hold my attention and interest. And it's those that keep the energy going in this film. They're the ones that keep everything interesting, keep you wanting to keep watching. And it's a really nicely put together film with these 2 great performances. I think where this film loses its focus is when it leaves them, as soon as you get out of the car and it moves to like the police detective who's investigating, it really loses its focus there, because I think the performance from the those playing the police detectives, if you like, two in particular. Real lack of energy there and enthusiasm, and I just didn't feel their performances, and that really didn't work. And like I say, at the end it gets a little bit unfocused. To say he's reluctant to kill only those that deserve it, by the end it goes a little bit Rambo, if you like. And I felt it kind of betrayed his character the last 10 or 15 minutes, in regards to, I mean, he carries himself with such dignity in this film, and you know, and he's a very respectful and honourable character who has got to do this really horrible thing, and he's very determined to do it. Like I say, a little bit messy by the end. It's got a real nice visual flair and style to the film as well. I think it's very well directed. It looks great, sounds great, it feels slick, it's shot in a nice way. It keeps it moving, the film, and it's a really nicely put together film that really surprised me. I must admit, I wasn't expecting to enjoy this film as much as I did. There are flaws to it. I think some might go into this thinking you're going to be getting like a Mark Dacascos martial arts a film here. That's not what you get here at all. It's not one of those films, but it is a really nice film. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. So if you do get a chance to check this film out, I do recommend it. It is not a Collateral clone, as many people are saying. It takes its inspiration from there, but it goes in a very different direction. So that is my review for One Night in Bangkok. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back with more reviews on Screen Stars very soon.